Ask any new mom, and she'll probably tell you her goals for her new baby, which are usually pretty straightforward: making sure they're comfortable, making sure they're eating, and making sure they're sleeping. We know that when babies eat well and sleep well, they're able to get and assimilate the nutrients they need for that healthy growth. But when you've got bibs and onesies and blankets and diapers and towels and mom and baby and dad and couches and furniture covered with spit up after every feeding cycle, well, you got to start to think maybe that's not normal. After each feeding, today we're going to talk a little bit about reflux and why commonly it can be misconstrued as a nutritional or a structural problem when in actuality it's dysfunction of the autonomic nervous system, where the brain is controlling the upper and lower parts of digestion. So if you're a mom or a dad or a family member concerned about a little one in your family that's a refluxy baby, and our goals are not to medicate them or be stuck giving them gripe water after every single feeding, try to find that gripe water. Is it in the fridge? Is it on the table? You have a gripe water in every room in your house because, baby's hungry. They got to have it. If your goal is to look at what that baby's internal system is doing, that autonomic nervous system, this video is for you. That pretty well describes a little boy I know named Colton. His mom would feed him, he'd spit up. Feed him, he'd spit up. And she felt like he just wasn't getting or keeping down that milk and getting the nutrients he deserved. She didn't want to go to formula. She didn't want to deal with a bunch of medications. She was at her wit's end. He wasn't able to sleep for more than 2 hours at a time because he couldn't keep food down. So he was constantly hungry. Mom felt frustrated. She felt hopeless. She was looking for some answers. So to look at the real root cause of reflux in kids, we've got to look deeper into how their nervous system is growing and developing. We need to look at structure, neurology, and nutrition. So when we put these together, structurally, there's a muscle called the lower esophageal sphincter, which acts as a valve between the esophagus and the stomach. When this valve isn't operating properly, which this is smooth muscle, we can't control it. It's completely controlled by that autonomic nervous system. And when there's dysfunction in that autonomic nervous system, in the area that regulates this lower esophageal sphincter, that lower esophageal sphincter isn't going to open and close properly. When this doesn't open and close properly, that's when we get things like reflux. It either doesn't open all the way to allow the milk to pass through, or it doesn't close all the way, and what's gurgling around in the belly can come back up. And very commonly, if we've got a baby that'll feed after feeding, they don't spit up right away. A couple hours later, it starts to just kind of come up and it's looking like a partially digested bit. We're looking at an inefficiency of that sphincter to function and open and close like it needs to. Again, it's not that the muscle needs to go to the gym and work because it's not a muscle we can control. It's automatic. It's that autonomic nervous system, that digestive part of the nervous system, that parasympathetic part of the nervous system that isn't functioning properly. And getting into the neurological perspective, well, we just jumped right on it. So if that neurological control to the smooth muscles of the esophagus, the stomach, and that lower esophageal sphincter are not functioning properly and the communication isn't where it needs to be, then we have dysfunction. And from a nutritional perspective, it's very easy to look at reflux as something of a nutritional problem. And while nutrition can be, or a lack of nutrition can be the case some of the time, we find that the common thing in between eating and breaking down and absorbing, not being in sync with each other, well, that goes right into the autonomic nervous system not doing what it needs to do. That's dysautonomia. And this simply means that the body, little baby's body, is having trouble eating, digesting, breathing, and moving at the same time. And those four, you got to have this nice interplay for feeding to work properly. So even if you went from breast milk to formula and you've tried different formulas, it may not necessarily be that nutritional component of what's in it that's causing reflux. It may be that the dance between all of these systems and that autonomic nervous system controlling it all isn't doing its job that it needs to. So what do? I know that this is an extremely sensitive and difficult and emotional subject because the last thing you want in the world is to hold your baby in your arms, to look down, a smile on your face, a smile on his or her face, and then projectile vomit hits you right in the mouth. It's not a pretty face. But seriously, what do you do? That's what we're here for. Give us a call. Let us help you find the root cause. By examining the activity of your little one's autonomic nervous system, we can look and put together a plan for you that includes safe, gentle, light chiropractic adjusting at a frequency that their body needs in order to function better. If we take that interference or that dysautonomia, the dysfunction, the blockage, the subluxation, whatever you want to call it in their nervous system, if we can get to that, find it, detect it, and remove it, then that nervous system functions better. That autonomic nervous system, that parasympathetic rest digest system will be able to communicate better with the smooth muscle that it innervates, and the control will be where it needs to be. Our safe, gentle, and easy adjustments unwind the tension and stress that was built up over the birth process, maybe some stress through pregnancy, or even just coming out into the world. Moms, I know, I've seen it firsthand. That labor process isn't called labor for nothing. It's tough. It's tough on you. It's tough on baby too, physically and neurologically. Oftentimes that birth trauma is the one thing that's causing that missing link between that autonomic nervous system and the digestive system. So if you have questions, please comment below, shoot me questions. If you want more of an in-depth conversation one-on-one, hop on our website. You can sign up for a 15-minute call, completely free of charge, complimentary, just to learn a little bit more about what we do, how we can help your kid. The second ask I have, if you have friends, family, anybody that you know that's dealing with this situation, please tag them below or share this in their page or DM it to them, throw it in a Facebook group, what have you. We're going to get this message out. I'm going to help your kids. I'll see y'all soon.